People, hello, how are we? Hopefully we're all doing well. Chris Billam Smith versus Zurdo Ramirez. What a great fight card it was. I've been saying that a lot recently, which is super, super positive and super nice to see. I like saying that. I like saying what a great fight card. Of course I do. I'd rather say that than, oh, it wasn't good. It was super, super good. And more than that, it was actually free. It wasn't pay-per-view. It was included in your regular subscription. So, I mean, maybe not free then, but you get the idea. Which again is super, super nice to see. It's nice to see a good card that's not pay-per-view event, which you've been seeing a lot of recently. And look, I get it. I do get it. I understand it a lot. Of course I do. But it's nice to see a couple of big names, a really good card, going at it, and it not be pay-per-view. It makes a change. I think it's because the names weren't quite as big, but actually the fighters were still super, super good. And it was really good. The hot card, top to bottom, besides maybe the co-main, was a really, really good event and just good card. And going into this fight, I predicted Chris Billam Smith to lose this fight. I thought Zurdo Ramirez would win. I think people underestimate Zurdo. Look, Chris Billam Smith versus Opetaia was basically written on the walls. It was already made. Everyone knew it. Everyone saw it was coming. Everyone was saying it's going to be, he's going to go in there, collect the belt off Zurdo, and then, maybe one or two more. But then eventually he's going to go in there and he can be more of an A-side against Opetaia. Kind of using Zurdo as like a practice against a boxing against a southpaw, a step up in opposition, a bit smaller than similar height, sort of like I say, boxing against a southpaw, a good boxer. I don't actually think many people, certainly didn't see really anyone saying that Zurdo Ramirez was going to win that fight. Everyone I saw predicted Chris Billam Smith. They were saying it was going to be tough, and of course, as champion versus champion, it's going to be tough. They're saying it's going to be tough. They're saying Zurdo's a good fighter, that he's a southpaw, whatever it is. But everyone was predicting Chris Billam Smith to win that fight. It was going to be Billam Smith goes in there, collects the belt, moves on to fight Opetaia. It was written on the walls. It was already being talked about. That's why he didn't take the Opetaia fight, because let's be honest, we all know that Chris Billam Smith was the one who avoided Opetaia. Opetaia was asking for that fight, wanted that fight, offered Chris Billam Smith some of his purse to have that fight. Billam Smith wouldn't take it, and Ben Shalom wouldn't let him take it. We've seen it so many times. Ben Shalom is an awful promoter. I swear their careers are getting shot to bits over there. But he didn't take it. He went and fought Ramirez. Everyone thought he was going to win. He came I was thinking, hang on a second. I actually think Ramirez is going to win this fight. I think Ramirez is going to go in there, not get drawn into the plans and the game tactics that Billam Smith has, not fight his fight, fight his own fight. And when he does get drawn into those firefights, look, that's how Ramirez used to fight down at light heavyweight. He'll be all right. He'll be able to sort of take his own, stand on his own 2 feet. And that's what we saw. We saw that happen, and Ramirez came out on top. And don't get me wrong, that's perhaps the best I've seen Ramirez fight in a very long time, especially against a real tough fighter like Chris Billam Smith, who likes to slug it out and bring it down a notch or two. But I think it's just, worth reiterating that actually Ramirez wasn't bad. That was never a clear-cut, foregone conclusion like people were making it out to be. I thought Ramirez was going to win. I thought, hang on a second, Ramirez is a good fighter here. I just think Ramirez, well, firstly, I said it in my prediction video, Ramirez is a better boxer than Chris Billam Smith. I just think he's a better boxer. But also, he knows how Chris fights. He used to fight like that. Go and watch him down at light heavyweight. He used to fight like Chris Billam Smith fights. So he knows those tactics. He's used to those tactics. He's used those tactics. So he knows how to combat that. He knows why he stopped fighting like that and how to get the better of that. And he watched Bivol do it. And it shows how good Bivol is. The fact Bivol beat Ramirez, and quite comfortably, shows how good Bivol is. But yeah, Ramirez has seen that. That's how you beat it. That's how you beat these sorts of styles. And he just executed it to perfection. He'd rough you up. So when Chris Billam Smith tried that, tried to do that with him, it just didn't really work. And I think Zurdo just kind of, he just looked absolutely fantastic. Do you know what I mean? He was. And Chris Billam Smith was as well, but Zurdo just wow. Zurdo, wow. Take a bow. Thoroughly deserved that win. Really, really thoroughly deserved that win. And I think Chris Billam Smith kind of knew that. I think this is another case of Sky just fucking up someone's career. We see it a lot. I think this is another case of that though, where there was meant to be Jai versus Chris Billam Smith, but as I say, they wanted to gamble on what was a fight, what was a slight chance he can round up some more belts. Ben Shalom wanted to take Chris Billam Smith's career, gamble that he might be able to take up a few more belts and go in there on A-side rather than just fighting Jai. And we've seen him do it a lot, where he just won't take the risks. he needs to take. Won't put his fighters in there when they should be going in there. And look, Frank's been doing it with someone like Daniel Dubois, and you can see it pay off. Daniel Dubois should not have fought Usyk. I'm sorry, he wasn't ready. He should not have fought Usyk. But he did, and he lost. But it doesn't matter, because everyone thought he was going to lose to Usyk anyway. And look, you come out of it actually looking pretty good, because even though he got scored that whole fight, because of the low blow controversy, he looks pretty good coming out of that. And we all knew he was going to lose anyway, so what difference does it make? So he goes back in there, bit of a rebuild, which was, what it was. And then he goes in there and gets given the belt against Hrgovic for beating Hrgovic. And then he goes in there and beats AJ. And suddenly, you take those risks, because you're throwing him in there with a Hrgovic, an Usyk, and AJ, and it comes out looking pretty good. But Ben Shalom won't do it. He'll put him in there against someone like Ramirez, where everyone thinks he's going to win. He goes in as a slight favourite and actually loses the fight. And suddenly you're thinking, fuck, because now what? Now no one's gonna gamble me. If at least when Dubois lost to Usyk, it's we knew he was gonna lose anyway. Still took him in there with the big names. That's what it would have been. You throw him in there against Opetaia, he loses to Opetaia. We knew Opetaia's a beast. We'll throw him in there against Ramirez still. But now he lost to Ramirez. No one wants to see him against Opetaia because Opetaia's gonna beat him. I mean, Opetaia was offering his own purse to get in there with Chris Billam Smith. He wanted that fight, but they said no. And the irony of that is, if they had said yes and fought Jai, look, he'd have lost. But I don't think that really would have done too much damage to his career, because you're losing to Jai. Like, you're losing to the top dog in the cruiserweight division. You'd have gone in there, you'd have maybe you'd have won and then you'd look unreal. Or you'd have done like Dubois did, you'd have lost, but something would have happened where people were going, fucking hell, actually, you're unreal. Or you'd have lost quite convincingly, but it doesn't matter because it's Jai Opetaia will still want to see you in there with the other champions like Ramirez. But because you went in there with Ramirez first, it's the other way round. Like I say, you still could have gone in there and fought Ramirez or somebody else at the top level after they'd probably lost to Jai as well. In the same sense, people would want to, if AJ beat Dubois, you still want to see Dubois, AJ Fury, because they both lost to Usyk, but it's Usyk. But you didn't. You didn't want to do that. No, you chose the other way and you lost and you fucked it up like you fuck up most people's career. Ben Shalom. So what next? Well, Chris Billam Smith might look to go up, and look, he's not going to beat Jai. I don't think he'll even get to fight Jai really unless he's able to get a bout again from someone else. So unless he can get a title shot anytime soon, I don't think he'll stay here. He might look to go up because you're not fighting Jai and you're not beating Jai. Lawrence Okoli, Richard Riakporhe up at Bridgerweight and then go up again. Something like that. And Ramirez has to fight Opetaia. 1 versus number 2. That's number 1 in the division, Jai Opetaia, versus number 2 in the division, Zurdo Ramirez. Southpaw versus Southpaw. And 2 top boxers. It has to happen. After Jai beats his mandatory on January 25th, I think it is. But make no mistake, Jai wipes the floor with him. Like, I can sit here and I can big it up. I can say it's number 1 versus number 2. I can say it's top boxer, Southpaw. Ramirez, who's just risen, his stock has risen a lot because he just beat Chris Billam Smith with a good performance. I can say that all I like, and I can sit there and go, look, it's number 1 versus number 2. But Jai Opetaia, and look, I am a huge Jai Opetaia fan. I've been a fan of his for so long. I knew he beat Breeders both times. I've really fancied, I went over there, lived in Australia, and he's such a top operator. So I am biased, I'll admit that, but just go back and watch that Jack Massey performance. He's so good. The only thing that has me a slight worry about Jai is, as we saw, Ramirez can hold it. Round 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's still coming at you. He's still, coming at you. He did slow down a bit, actually, to be fair. I think Chris Billam Smith did throw more in those last rounds, but he's still there. And we've seen Jai, when he goes that far, which isn't often, he does slow down a little bit. But I think that's more to do with who he's fighting than himself. I don't even know if it goes that far. I just think he's so good. I think he's so good, and I think he wants the 4 of him. As I think he will do for the rest of the division, as I think he will do for his mandatory. And then I'll move up. And that's what I'm waiting for. But anyway, people, enough about that. Opetaia versus Ramirez in the works, surely. Surely. Fuck it. Still fight Billam Smith, why not? Anyway, people, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I look forward to seeing it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you think that's what should happen next? Let me know. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. People know YouTube works. Peace.